So he's trying to get his money. So then now he goes off to Denmark to try to get money for all those ships that he turned in, you know, a while ago. And while there, a guy is like, hey, he's a pretty cool dude. And this guy, he passes word along to Empress Catherine the Great of Russia. Like, hey, this guy needs a job. And he's a pretty accomplished naval officer. And she's like, sounds good because I want to go to war with the Ottoman Empire.
Jesus.
Let's hire him. And he's like, yes, sounds great. I will work for you. Welcome to Ill-Equipped History, where two best friends tell you about history, and apparently sometimes our Swedish chef, like Emily thought I was when we logged on to Zoom today.
Guys, I logged on, and she's cuddling Jack, and I don't know what she's saying, but she sounds like the Swedish chef. She's going, work. That's what she sounds like, and she didn't know I was there at first, so I got a front row view. It was the best. And I start like cry laughing. And what did you tell? What was it you were telling him?
Kyle has friends over and he was barking at them. So I picked him up and I was going, naughty puppies, go to Sky Jail. But like, I was also like smooching him and petting him and like talking in his
through
fur.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Swedish chef.
Yeah.
Burger. The best. And after the day I had, I needed that laugh. I truly did.
I'm so glad I could provide for you.
Thank you.
How are you?
Listen. Let me give you a brief rundown of my day real quick.
Okay.
8 a.m. sharp physical therapy because health. She made me do things. Whatever, fine. It's for health. And then immediately I went and picked up 10 flats of strawberries because fundraiser at school. And I had to coordinate. Each flat was 8 containers. I had 80 containers of strawberries in my car. Then I had to deliver to places. And I had forgotten to actually place my Walmart order. So instead of picking it up at 9, I had to pick it up later, which means my dry shampoo was out. So I had to go back to the house and get a hat for my greasy hair. And that's why I'm wearing a hat right now. And then I went and looked at 3 houses for our bestie Sarah. And that was not a complaint at all. I was living the dream. I was in crawl spaces today. One of them made my foot hurt because whoever laid the plastic in that crawl space didn't actually secure it to anything. So it was slipping and sliding under my feet. But I got to go house hunting like I was on HGTV, living the best life. Then I came home. All of this, I'm still working. So I'm answering the phones and stuff. And then Accelerated Reader kicked our patooties this afternoon. Because the kids' last day to meet their goals is Thursday. And we have things tomorrow and Thursday. So we had to finish it today. So that I skipped a lot of my other stops. That was brief. I haven't stopped moving since 7:30 this morning. Well, I woke up at 6. So okay. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off today since 7:30 this morning. SOS. Your girl's tired.
We'll try to make this quick tonight.
No, I need this for my soul.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you may be maybe changing your tune when we get to the end of this episode, because I thought this was going to be a hee ha ha, nice little historic jaunt. And it ends in horror.
Oh, God. Half the time it does.
Yeah. So, we're going to get to the end of the story, and then I'm going to give a trigger warning, and then we're going to get into the bad stuff, because I feel like it needs to be said, because literally no one is fucking talking about it, and it needs to be out there.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, let's get into our skit, and then we will get into who this person is.
I'm so scared now.
August 1779, off the coast of the British Isles, a small fleet led by a Scottish-American sailor is searching for enemy ships.
Hey, Captain, there be a warship ahead. Warship? Let me see.
The captain looks through his spyglass. He sees British colors and the name Serapis.
Ah, looks like a fight ahead, boys. Man your stations.
The call goes out to the fleet of 5 ships. The sailors get ready for battle.
Fire!
Cannons explode as the 2 ships, the Bonhomme Richard and the Serapis, engage in a fierce naval battle. The captain hears a call over the gunfire.
Are you ready to surrender, you bastard? Ha ha ha! I have not yet begun to fight.
Battle continues for 3 more hours. The captain makes a bold decision. He takes the Bonhomme Richard and slams into the Serapis. He runs around and ties the 2 ships together, continuing the attack on the British sailors.
Take this, you bastards!
The sailor hurls a grenade into the Serapis. After the smoke clears, the remaining British sailors surrender. After cheers of victory, the Bonhomme Richard lurches.
Lads, vacate the Serapis. The Richard is sinking.
The sailors hurry to the other ship while the captain unties the ships that were tied. Everyone stands in silence as they watch the ship sink into the dark water. The survivors then hurriedly contain their prisoners and gather their prizes before hurrying off into the horizon.
Oh my God, what are we talking about? Obviously, a ship sank already. I'm in.
Yes.
You've caught my attention.
We will be talking about ships. The main topic of our story today, though, is the person who sailed these ships. His name was John Paul Jones.
Okay.
So, just backstory. I had a note on my phone that said guy who invaded Britain by himself. And this is the guy that popped up even though he didn't invade Britain by himself.
Okay.
But he did successfully invade Britain for the first time in like 700 years as a foreign entity. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
I also want to let you know, please reserve all judgments for this man until I finish, because what I'm going to talk about after I finish his story is a lot.
Okay.
So I'm going to say some things that make him sound really cool and a badass, and then it's going to be kind of whiplash at the end.
Well, listen, I'm looking at his picture. There is no beard.
There is no beard.
I'm not holding any. I will reserve feelings. I don't see a beard, so we're good.
Yeah, I didn't see any pictures of him having a beard.
Thank God.
So he was born John Paul on July 6, 1747 in Kirkcudbright, off the land of Arbigland in Scotland. You know how they are with all their properties.
Jesus.
I know. His father, John Paul, was a gardener to a member of parliament, and Arbigland was the member of parliament's like farm or whatever. And then his mother, her name was Jean Macduff, and she was the daughter of a Highlander.
Okay.
He was the 4th child out of 7 total, and then
in the middle?
Right. And he was one of 5 to survive to adulthood. Okay. Only one sibling is really mentioned in this story. So we'll get to him when we do. He attended Kirkbean School, but spent most of his time during childhood on the port of Carsithorne, talking to sailors, hanging out on ships. He was called to the sea.
Okay.
When he was 12, he became an apprentice to a Scottish merchant sailor named John Younger and sailed to Virginia. He did already have a brother. His older brother, William, lived in Fredericksburg, Virginia, so he did have someone to, like, check on him. But he was an apprentice on the ship for a while. He sailed to England, America, the West Indies, Africa for a while. And then in 1766, Younger's business failed, so John had to find work on a slave ship.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He was 17, and his first ship that he sailed on was out of Jamaica called the Two Friends, and he was the first mate. He did at least 3 different slaving trips to Africa. He did this for about 2 years, but really disliked it. He found the whole slave trade business despicable, so he got out.
Yeah. Well, good for him on that. I'm still holding reservations, but good for him on that.
So the story's a little muddled. Like, his sources say, like, slightly different things. So I think this is what happened. On his way back to Scotland from Jamaica, or wherever he got off the ship, he was on the ship called the John. Both the captain and the first mate died of yellow fever. So now there's no one who can, like, steer the ship. But he, you know, he spent several years on a ship. And so the rest of the people on board say, please take control. And he did. And he got everyone back to port just fine. The owners of the ship were very impressed with him. And they appointed him master of the ship and gave him 10% of the cargo.
Oh. Damn.
Yeah. So he's starting to, you know, make it big. Very shortly after, John was accused by the ship's carpenter of, quote unquote, excessive flogging.
Oh.
This was investigated and the claims were dismissed. I don't know a whole lot. I think, like, there were some letters involved, some higher, like, powerful people vouched for him. Later, that carpenter died of yellow fever. Oh. And John was accused of murder, even though there wasn't really any evidence of that because he died of fever, not flogging. I don't know if, like, they thought he was more susceptible to the fever because of flogging. I don't know. He was imprisoned, but he made bail, and he was later acquitted, and, like, the charges were dismissed. So no longer found guilty of murder, no longer accused of murder, but apparently this situation didn't go away.
Right.
But he was still called to the sea, so after he left the John, he ended up purchasing his own ship called the Betsy in 1772 and was bebopping around in the West Indies.
That's a cute name for a ship.
I know. He was the Betsy. He was running his own cargo, making good amounts of money. And apparently he didn't pay his crew.
Oh.
Again, I've seen slightly different accounts. I have several different sources, and they all say something a little bit different. I've seen that there was a mutiny. I've seen that it was, like, just some angry sailors that they weren't getting paid. So I guess, like, there's some kind of confrontation.
Right.
And a sailor, I've seen he was just a sailor. I've also seen him called the ringleader of the mutiny. Oh. Came at John in anger.
Okay.
And then John killed this person with his sword.
What the fuck?
He claims it was self-defense, but I've also seen it be described as murder. So, take that for what you will. So they were in Tobago, which is in the West Indies, and he didn't think that he was going to get a fair trial. There was, like, something about the first person, the carpenter who had died, like, his family was very influential in the area, and he was like, there's no way, like, they already accused me of killing their family member, and I definitely killed this guy, so I gotta get out of here. So he ended up just fleeing. And for the next 20 months, we don't know what happened. He just vanished off the face of the earth for 20 months. Some people think that he went into piracy, but no one knows. And some sources I saw say his detractors and enemies say he went into piracy. We don't know.
Okay.
what we do know is that in 1774, he shows back up in Fredericksburg, Virginia, now calling himself John Paul Jones. He was born John Paul, but then added the Jones to his name as kind of like a fake name.
Okay. So his last name was Paul.
Yes.
And now he's John Paul Jones.
Yes. And I saw that, like, he may have added Jones to his last name in honor of, like, a guy named Willie Jones. May have been a sailor in Virginia.
Okay.
Things are real
Wasn't
spotty.
Jones the name of the ship that he was on at one point?
John was the name of the
John.
ship. There's a lot of Johns in this story.
Well, yeah, there were back then, too.
Yeah, including a ship.
Yes.
So he is back in Fredericksburg. He becomes a Freemason, which also gives him access to a lot of the founding fathers. Like, he knew George Washington, he knew John Hancock, he knew Ben Franklin, he knew all these guys and was, like, on a first name basis with him. While here, he courted a woman named Dorothea Dandridge. She would later go on to marry Patrick Henry, who was another, like, Revolutionary War hero. Mm-hmm. And around this time, his brother William died. And so John had to, like, settle his affairs, even though he was just, like, he's either a tailor or a barber, and he didn't really have a lot. Like, he didn't have any children to leave anything to. He didn't leave John anything, because I don't think he really had a lot to give.
Right.
So, what's happening in the Americas in the mid-1770s?
Nothing much.
Nothing much.
Just a little revolution.
Yeah,
just
that.
Tiny little one.
No big deal. So yeah, the revolution's a brewing. He goes to Philadelphia because there's a call for officers to join a Continental Navy, and he's like, screw the British. I'm Scottish. Fuck the British. He's happily going to fight against them, and he actually becomes the first person to be a commissioned first lieutenant of a Continental Navy.
Okay.
And he had a great career with the Navy. He served, the first ship he served on was called the Alfred, and they did a lot of fighting in the Bahamas. And then in 1776, he commanded the Providence, which sailed from the Bahamas, or Bermuda specifically, all the way to Nova Scotia. So, like, all along the East Coast. And he had a very successful career as a Navy sailor, privateer-ish. Like, he defeated 16 ships in one voyage.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he caught 8 and then burned/sank 8, and then avoided 2 more British frigates, like, outmaneuvered them. So he's a brilliant sailor. I will give him that.
Hey.
For everything that we're going to talk about, he is a brilliant sailor.
I'm so scared for what's coming.
It's really bad. It's really bad. Probably one of the worst things we've ever talked about.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Ha!
And it needs to be said.
Yes, I agree. Whatever it is, we can't hide it.
Right. Because, and I'll get to it, but no one else talked about this. Actively avoided it, actually. So.
Oh, God.
He's on the Providence. He goes back and is now commander. Like, he was just like a lieutenant on the Alfred. Now he's back commanding the Alfred, caught even more ships. So I saw in a few sources, like, he got prizes, and I assume this means he caught ships and, like, their crew to, like, hand over to governments, and then got money for the ships that he captured. Mm-hmm. In 1777, Congress made him in charge of the Ranger, and he went off to the UK and was doing shit, causing chaos, caught several ships. The French loved him. And while he was aboard the Ranger, that ship was, quote, the first American vessel ever to be recognized by a foreign power. Because a French ship acknowledged, like, this American naval ship. Which, I mean, the United States isn't even a country yet, so it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So he's off causing the British trouble, and, like, catches a bunch of British ships, and then he sails up on the beaches of France, or in a port, And the French were like, you're a hero. Good job for capturing all these British ships. Because they're like, the French are helping the Americas in the Revolutionary War against the British. Mm-hmm. And somewhere along this line, then the British and the French start fighting each other directly in Europe.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. At one point, he attacked the port of Whitehaven, which is very close to where he grew up. A lot of the sailors, like, under his command, they wanted to be more like privateers or pirates. Like, they wanted to steal stuff. They wanted to pillage. And he mostly kept them under control. There's this one incident where, like, they captured another seaside town and they, like, got into this mansion and they're like, please let us steal things. And he was like, you can take this one set of plates. And they did. And then he actually ended up, like, buying the plates back later and, like, giving it back to the people that they stole the plates from.
That's an interesting way around it. There, he gets to let his crew steal shit, but then eventually gives it back. Like, sorry, my child was naughty. Kind of a vibe is what it's giving.
Because he was like, I got to give them something because they're starting to get rowdy. So in August of 1779, he becomes the commander of the Bonhomme Richard, or that's French for Poor Richard, named after Poor Richard's Almanac, which was written by Ben Franklin. Yeah. The French also loved Ben Franklin too. So
everybody loved Ben Franklin.
He really did. He fucked.
He sure did.
He sure did.
He sure did.
So he commanded the Bonhomme Richard and a small fleet, sailing around the British Isles, causing a ruckus. So now we're getting to what we opened our skit with today, which is this naval battle against the Bonhomme Richard and the Serapis. So they confront the Serapis, and there's another vessel called the Countess of Scarborough. But the main battle is primarily between the Bonhomme Richard and the Serapis. 3.5 hour naval gun battle. In the kind of the beginning of the gun battle, a British officer said, like, challenged him, asked, are you ready to surrender? And John is very famous for saying, I have not yet begun to fight.
He's a man that knew what he was about.
He was. And
he was.
They continued firing cannons at each other, and then John gets the brilliant idea to slam the Bonhomme Richard into the side of the Serapis and then tie it all together so they can't leave. Because the Serapis was the superior. It was a British warship.
Yeah.
And his ship was a sloop. Essentially. Like,
Jesus.
But
you're not going anywhere. I'm going to tie you to me.
And they all, like, went over onto the Serapis. A guy threw a grenade. The British surrendered. And they're like, oh shit, the Bonhomme Richard is sinking. So then they all get over on the Serapis and, like, watch the Bonhomme Richard sink.
Oh.
And that wasn't the only cost. There was a very significant loss of life in this battle, of course, as you can imagine. But John Paul Jones is victorious, and he takes the Serapis and the Countess of Scarborough, which was also captured in this battle, to the Netherlands, specifically Holland, to say, here are captured ships, please give me money. Yes. They did not give him money.
Oh.
Not a lot of people actually gave him money, which you can feel one way or the other about. But
yeah.
The French loved this guy, and King Louis XVI actually named him a chevalier and gave him a gold hilt sword.
He was probably looking at the sword like, man, I wish this was money.
Yeah. But he was very proud of it. Like,
that's good.
At one point, I'll talk about it in a minute, but he was a rear admiral at one point, but he still wanted to be called a chevalier over anything else.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm a French knight. So he's Scottish. He has American citizenship, and he also has French citizenship. He's just all over the place.
He's collecting them.
He is. And this specific battle between his vessel and the Serapis is what gave him international acclaim, what made him known as a hero. Not to the British, of course. They called him a pirate, but everywhere else called him a hero. By December of 1779, he had taken 500 prisoners of war.
Jesus.
Yeah.
How old was he at this point?
I think still in his 20s.
What?
Let's see. When was he born? 1747. So he's 30.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's so many.
Yeah. But the Revolutionary War ends. Continental Navy dissolves because there's no more war, no more money. And he was like, hey, U.S. government, you commissioned me to be an officer in your Navy. Can I please get my money? And they're like, no, but what you can do is try going to France to like get payment for all the ships you surrendered. And he was like, okay, I'll do that. So he goes to do that for the next 4 years. It was just trying to get his money in France.
Somebody pay the man money.
Yeah.
I feel like he did deserve the money.
I agree. And I couldn't find any information about it, but he may have been involved with a woman only known as Madame T.
I like her.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's about, but anyone named Madame T? Yes.
But that's all we know. No one really knows for sure.
Does she pour the tea? Is she chatty?
Or she just T-pose all the time. He did earn a congressional medal in 1787.
Okay.
But he still had not been paid for his service. He hasn't gotten his like pension or anything. So
listen, people were not America, the United States were not paying people at the end of the Revolutionary War.
Nope.
They weren't paying anybody.
Nope.
So even after the Civil War, they weren't paying anybody. No. They're like, we're broke. We're sorry.
They're like, please fight and die on our behalf, but for free.
Yes. Your payment is your freedom. Notice free in there. Freedom.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Free is like italicized, bolded, underline.
Yeah. And asterisk, and then you have to go all the way to the bottom.
Read the terms and paid. The terms and conditions and like microscopic print.
You got to read between the lines, man.
Mm-hmm. So he's trying to get his money. So then now he goes off to Denmark to try to get money for all those ships that he turned in, you know, a while ago. And while there, a guy is like, hey, he's a pretty cool dude. And this guy, I didn't write his name down because he's not super important. There's like 500,000 people in the story. He passes word along to Empress Catherine the Great of Russia. Like, hey, this guy needs a job and he's a pretty accomplished naval officer. And she's like, sounds good because I want to go to war with the Ottoman Empire.
Jesus.
Let's hire him. And he's like, yes, sounds great. I will work for you.
All right.
So he served in the Russian Navy. He was named a rear admiral, which is one of the highest positions you can get in the Navy. It's like a general, basically.
Damn.
He did have issues with the service. The ship was barely working.
Oh.
And then his crew were poor serfs that were riddled with disease. So he's like, how am I supposed to fight the Ottoman Empire with like toothpicks and string, you know?
Yeah. Creative.
Right.
Yeah, but freaking Ottoman Empire?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this is where stuff starts getting muddled, and we'll go into more detail. I saw reports that, like, he tried to talk about the condition of the ships and the crew to Catherine, but her own military commanders blocked him from, like, communicating with her. And let's see. Let me see how many sources I have. Hang on. 8. I have 8 sources that I got this from. 7 out of 8 say that the Russian government was out to get him. They were trying to set up plots to assault his honor and like ruin his reputation. There was a quote unquote sex scandal. The Russian military officers were jealous of him because he was so accomplished, and they sought to sully his character. 7 out of 8 sources say this. So he was just so disillusioned with everything. He left Russia, resigned, left to Paris in 1790.
Yes.
When he goes back to Paris, it's the middle of the French Revolution. Because constant war. It's just war all the time. There were reports of him trying to like get back into the good graces of Catherine and try to re-enter the Russian military. We will get more into that, but it just wasn't happening. And actually, George Washington offered for him to be recommissioned into the United States military, but he declined. And there was some other stuff about him. I don't even remember. I didn't even write it down. Where they were like trying to get him to go do something. But he never got the chance because on July 18th, 1792, he was found dead in his Parisian apartment.
What?
He was 45 years old.
What?
Yeah.
He just died?
He just died. So he was buried. At some point, they don't know if like they buried him without a grave marker, or if it was stolen at some point, but his grave was lost at some point. Oh. And in 1899, so over 100 years later, the American ambassador to France, his name is General Horace Porter, tries to find John Paul Jones. He's an American hero. He's buried somewhere in France. They know the general area. So he gets like archaeologists, other sciencey people to start excavating. And they find him in a neighborhood that's now covered with homes. What? He was just buried under, like, houses.
Could you imagine being a child in a house and you're like, I'm being haunted by the ghost of John Paul Jones, and no one's gonna believe you?
No.
What?
He was discovered in a leaden coffin. And apparently he had been mummified he'd been mummified after he died. In alcohol.
Like mummy? Or just like mummified, like
he was
dried out?
Mummified in alcohol, so I assume dried out. And then like encased in lead.
Would they think it was a vampire?
I don't know. But his body was so well preserved, they were able to identify his cause of death.
What was it?
Kidney failure exacerbated by heart arrhythmia.
Huh.
Yeah.
Normal medical shit.
Yeah, just his kidneys were shitty. It was like I saw the name of it specifically. It was like some kind of nephritis, and it's like a blockage in the kidney or something about it just dies and stops working. But yeah, kidney failure. So in July of 1905, a fleet of U.S. warships carries him back to the United States, and in 1906 he's interred in a crypt, and the ceremony is presided over by Theodore Roosevelt.
Cool.
The house where he died in Paris is now a historic memorial. And like I said, he's known as the father of the American Navy. His tactics during the Revolution actually helped influence a lot of what would become the U.S. Navy.
Right.
There's a battleship named after him, or actually several. The most recent one is the USS John Paul Jones. It's a destroyer that was commissioned in 1991, and I have a picture of that.
Okay.
Sorry, I mixed up the order. I meant to say this earlier. When he was brought back to the United States, he's buried now in Annapolis, Maryland, and his grave is a national shrine at the U.S. Naval Academy Chapel.
Okay.
Okay.
What? He's dead. What could possibly go wrong now?
So this happened while he was alive.
Okay.
I just wanted to get the rest of his story because it would feel weird to like go back to like, oh, now he's dead.
Okay.
Like after this, because this is several pages. Major trigger warning for sexual assault of a minor.
No. God dang it.
I will give you a few minutes if you need to skip ahead, because it is fucking rough, you guys. And I'm not going to go into detail, but the story needs to be told. So I'm going to, while I'm editing, give you the time where you can skip to when we're no longer talking about this event, because we'll probably be discussing it for a while, because holy shit, it's gnarly. So go to this time. Please skip ahead to 59 minutes. Take care of yourselves.
Perfect. Okay.
So this happened while John Paul Jones was in Russia. During that time where no one really, it's really rough, and we'll get into why no one's reporting on it. I do want to shout out the source I did get this from. It's from a journal called Past Tense. Okay. It comes out of the University of Toronto, like the history department. The article is called, I'm going to try to do my best with the Russian, Yatoya, The Rape of Katerina Stepanova and John Paul Jones, Russian Legacy. Or John Paul Jones's Russian Legacy. This was the only source that I read that mentioned this.
Okay.
And we're going to get into why that most likely is. Okay, buckle up. So John Paul Jones was accused of rape by Katerina Stepanova on March 31st, 1789. She was 10 years old.
Ew. You're right. This is worse.
So, again, I'm not going to go into detail, but I do want to tell this story. So, according to Katerina's account, she was selling butter when she was called into an apartment. A man wearing, quote, a white uniform, the front of which was embroidered in gold and decorated with a crimson ribbon and gold star, was like, I want to buy your butter. He actually overpaid for the butter. When she tried to leave, he punched her in the face so hard it burst her lip. He gagged her with a handkerchief and assaulted her. She also noted that he didn't speak Russian very well, but he did say if she told anyone, he would kill her in Russian.
What the fuck?
So she went home. Her mother contacted the police. It was investigated. Again, I'm not going to go into detail, but medical examinations supported her story.
Okay. Well, and also she has a busted lip.
Right.
And
that was part of it. Like, her face was swollen. She had a busted lip. Other medical examinations supported.
Yes.
So, again, Katerina's mother, like, acted very quickly. Like, very, very soon after. It was, I think, about a day. And that does come up later. She contacted the chief of police. They were in St. Petersburg. And so the chief of police investigated, interviewed. Well, when Katerina went home, I mean, of course, she's traumatized. Distraught. And so she told her mother that she'd been attacked and, like, described where she was. Her mother went to where she described, spoke to a man there, and was like, who lives here? And he says, oh, my boss, John Paul Jones, lives here. So she went straight to the police after that and said, my daughter was assaulted. This is a man that did it. So the police are investigating. Different members of his household staff confirmed that they had seen John and Katerina together. So, like, his interpreter's story is that Katerina came to the door selling butter. Apparently, John, liked to look at the butter he was buying. So he was like, oh, yeah, go on up to the room. It's fine. And then he realized that she was in there for, like, 30 minutes. And a coachman, a seaman, and an assistant all confirmed seeing Katerina that day in the house. And there were varying accounts to her state, some saying they saw her face swollen and her weeping. And then the assistant also said later when he went to go like clean the room and make the bed, he noticed drops of blood on the floor.
Poor girl.
It's awful, and it's about to get even worse.
No.
So the chief of police asked John Paul Jones what happened, because he's got testimony from different people who saw her in the same room as him, who saw her at his home, who recognized her and saw that she had a swollen face and was crying. John Paul Jones said, yeah, we had sex because she's a prostitute. But I always paid her for sex. And this wasn't the first time. We had sex very often. And also, she's not 10. She's older than 10.
No.
Yeah. Then he changes his story. So this is what he told the police chief. Later, he changes his story saying this was all a plot by Katerina and her mother to get money out of him.
They're not asking for money.
So
they want you to go away.
Yeah. So one of John's really good friends, he's known as the Comte de Ségur. He's like the French ambassador to Russia. He wrote in like his journals or whatever. He went to go visit John and caught him in the middle of attempting to commit suicide. Stopped him. And then John was like, Katerina came here and asked me to mend cloth. And then while she was doing that, she made inappropriate gestures at me, quote unquote, performed indecent gestures. And John was like, no, don't do that. You don't want to go down this way. And like gave her money to leave. Then he says that Katerina burst out of the door and tore at her clothes and like ran into her mother's arms, who was waiting just outside of his room, claiming that he had raped her.
What the fuck? So you've changed it like a second time, third time now.
Yeah. More, there's so much nonsense that happens. I'm not even going to go over, like, there was stuff about the church was like, well, her mother doesn't even go to church. It was a bunch of stuff.
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And John Paul Jones got this child's father to swear in an affidavit that she was not 10. She was 12.
That's still not good. Oh my God.
So John then goes to Empress Catherine's son, Prince Grigory Potemkin, say like, hey, like we fought together, like in the Crimean Sea against the Ottomans. Like we're cool, right? Like, can you help me out? The police are like intimidating me. He was completely ignored by the prince. The prince was like, get out of here with that. Like, don't even talk to me.
Fuck off.
But John was telling everyone who would listen, like, Katerina and her mother were of low moral status, which therefore, like, meant that he didn't do anything wrong because they're shit people, was his logic.
Oh.
So Empress Catherine, this becomes a scandal. He's a rear admiral. Like, this becomes a very big story. Empress Catherine hears about what's going on, immediately without thought takes Katerina's side. She's like, I believe her. I support her. Like, because also she paid attention to the facts of the investigation, which all supported Katerina's story.
Yes.
So she's like, he's got to go to trial, removes him from her court, doesn't strip him of his status, but she's like, you can't be here anymore. And so the article I was reading talked a lot about like Russian law at the time. And there's a lot of stuff. Like one of the things was, so rape was taken seriously in Russian law, but there's a lot of burden of proof on the accuser to like provide evidence. And there was a statute that said that rapes had to be reported immediately because if there was any delay, it was seen as a sign of consent, which doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
And at first, because Katerina's mother, it took about a day for her to report to police about what happened. It was going to be dismissed, but then Catherine intervened and said, no, this is going to fucking trial.
Yeah.
And one thing is that Russians did take rape very seriously. Like, in their law, it was rape is rape.
Good.
If the person is a sex worker or not, rape is rape.
Good.
And punishment for those, like, found guilty of rape were either beheaded or forced to do forced labor for life.
Damn.
So very severe punishment. And I don't know a lot about Catherine, so I don't want to be like, yes, woman, because I don't know anything about her. Mm-hmm. What I got from the story is that she was very, very supportive of women, especially women who found themselves in need, especially from relationships with men. Like, she helped protect women who were fleeing abusers or whose husbands were, like, trying to divorce them because they wanted to marry someone else. Like, so, and she protected Katerina to the best of her ability from what I saw in this one article.
Yeah.
And was really wanting John Paul Jones to go to trial and face justice. So really, in Russia, most people believe that, or at least, like, you know, they believe Katerina's story and they're like, oh, this fucker's a rapist. Outside of Russia, it's a much different story.
Oh, God.
He had a lot of allies in the U.S. and France, especially France, who tried to interfere and, like, change the narrative to benefit John.
Don't support rapists, even if they're your friends.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah. So, and this doesn't even make sense because John Paul Jones was, like, trying to get back in Catherine's good graces, but then his fucking friends are, like, throwing smear campaigns against Catherine and, like, talking about how sexually deviant she is. Like, you know, when we talked about Marie Antoinette and, like, all the shit that she went through, the French are doing the exact same thing to Catherine the Great, talking about her sexual exploits, just making shit up. And this started becoming international news. Like, this was talked about, I mean, Thomas Jefferson talked about it and was like, he's a great guy. Don't, like, do this. That's crazy. Catherine got so fed up with everything. She was like, get the fuck out of Russia. Like, just get out. I'm banishing you, exiling you for 2 years. I don't know what was going to happen after those 2 years because he didn't live long enough for those two. Like, he died 2 years later.
Right.
But he was telling everyone that would listen, like, oh, like, Catherine asked me to leave Russia in the middle of a war. Like, they're still actively fighting the Turks. And, like, she just kicked me out. How crazy is that? It's because the military guys are all jealous of me. And, like, I'm just trying to...
Stroking his own ego.
Yeah. And he kept sending letters to Catherine and Prince Gregory, like, all the time. Which, from what the article said, they never responded to him. There was a guy who was, like, a baron who was, like, kind of the bridge between John and Catherine. And Catherine never responded to John's letters. But she did tell the baron, quote, a suit brought against him for rape, which did little to honor his excellence, his humanity, his justice, or his generosity, end quote, was a reason he was exiled, and no one in the Russian Navy would serve under him. And that wasn't even like a threat. Like, no one wanted to because he was accused of this horrible crime.
Yeah. And he is a foreigner to them.
Right.
And how are they going to trust him if he comes into their country, rapes one of their children, and they're like, dude, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
We wouldn't even allow that from our own people.
Right.
We don't care who you are or where you come from or what you're doing here. Go away.
Exactly. And this statement from Catherine, quote, proved the continuation of her belief that the rape allegation colored Jones's entire Russian service. No battlefield glory, real or imagined, nor his desire to serve Russia outweighed the fact that he raped a girl. And that's a quote from Jacob Bell, who wrote this article for the Past Tense Journal.
Can we have Catherine from, I don't know anything about her. I feel like we should cover her.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure.
Can we have her mentality everywhere? That would be lovely.
I know, right? I feel like
none of this, but he has a bright future. No, he doesn't, because he's a rapist.
Yeah. What about the victim? Did they not have a bright future that was taken away from them by the actions of a rapist?
Yeah. I'm sorry he tanked his college career because he's a rapist. Like,
it's crazy. It's crazy. Like I said, Russia was primarily took the position of Catherine.
Okay.
Other places
good
took Jones's side, and this is where this narrative started emerging that the military. So
you lied to make yourself look good,
and it wasn't even just him.
Narcissists do.
It was his friends that were like spreading these lies. Like at one point, it was being by the French. They were saying that all of these like military leaders and stuff were all sleeping with Catherine, and they were either jealous or Catherine also wanted to sleep with John and he rebuffed her, and so now they're doing this smear campaign to make him look bad.
No.
And that came from the Comte de Ségur, who again was the French ambassador to Russia and also John's friend.
Mother fudger.
So this also came up in the article and why it's not really talked about. So one of John Paul Jones's early biographers, his name is Lincoln Lorenz, and he like completely shit talked the Russian military and the country as a whole and really undermined what happened. So in the investigation, there's all this stuff going on, and there's something called the John L. Sr. Moscow Papers that documented the assault. Mm-hmm. Most people have not read these. Lorenz did. And he was like, these are bullshit. And basically said that these papers were a lie to ruin John Paul Jones's reputation.
Why would they do that? Obviously, he's a decorated naval captain. Why would they want to ruin his reputation in the middle of a war? They could have used his expertise on the battleships. But no, they were like, you got to get out of here because you did something horrendous. Mm-hmm. They're not just going to kick him out. But, oh my God, you're too good. Go away. You're making us look bad. No. That's not.
It doesn't even make sense.
Why, as you're trying to win a war, you would not get rid of your best person that you worked hard to recruit them to come unless they did something horrendous like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And Lorenz started going around like kind of perpetrating this idea that is still talked about today and is still reported as fact today, that Katerina was a sex worker and this was all a plot orchestrated by Catherine. 7 out of 8 sources said this in my research.
Even though there's documentation from Catherine herself saying why she kicked him out of the country.
Yep.
It's almost like we should believe women and also not blame women for everything. Sometimes the bad guys are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, even if they're doing good shit for the country, for whatever, they're still bad guys.
Mm-hmm. And I do want to say, I don't think that the articles that I read this and the sources I got this from were like purposely like, oh, we got to cover up the rape. I think it's just not very well known about. Like, I didn't.
Right. Well, I mean, it was hundreds of years ago.
It was. And I didn't even know about it. So sometimes what I'll do when I'm doing a research and I feel like I haven't gotten all the information, I'll look at the Wikipedia page to see, like, is there anything just generally that I may have missed so I can go back and do independent research on this one thing.
Yeah.
And it mentioned a rape. And I was like, oh, fuck, a rape? What the hell? And so then I, looked at the sources in the Wikipedia article and I found like one source that mentioned it. And I clicked on it. It was this journal. And I was like, out of all of these different, and it could be in like some different biographies. I didn't have time to read books. But like it could be in other places, but I don't think so because I feel like it would be mentioned at least like maybe he did this or maybe he didn't, but it'll at least be mentioned, you know? Like, all I saw was, like, there was drama and, like, there was a sex scandal. Like, that was the most descriptive thing I saw of it, a sex scandal, which it's not a sex scandal. It's a rape allegation. No. But
it's not a scandal. It's you're going to court. Like,
yeah. And what's frustrating, and I mean, he did die like 2 years later, but he never went to trial for this, and he was never convicted of it. So, I mean, to this day, we can only say alleged because, like, he was not found guilty of it. But I do believe Katerina.
Yes. And I do believe karma comes around. Mm-hmm. And I do believe the universe takes a score. Whatever happens after we die was done according to whatever. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Yep. Yippee. Thank you for this. Thank you for shedding light on this lesser known time in his life. Mm-hmm. The whole time I was like, but what about that 8th article? What did it say? And you circled around to it.
I did.
And it is comforting to know that that one article came from a college source, like a
historical journal.
You know, a historical journal, a well-respected source. So those are the ones you want to find.
Yes. And
not like BuzzFeed.
Right. So and there's a lot of sources that are listed in the article too. Yeah. So this particular article, there's 3 different articles about different things. The first one's like Jim Crow in the north of the U.S. And then this one is about Katerina Stepanova and her case. So, but there's, I mean, like pages and pages and pages of documentation and research. Yeah. This was written by like either a grad student or a PhD student who had, this was like his job basically, is to research this. So
yeah, I think he did the work for us.
The author of this article is Jacob Bell, and I'm pretty sure it's the University of Toronto is where this journal comes from. Yes, thank you, Jacob, for writing a very interesting, very well written, like easy to understand article about this horrific. That's
kind of hard to find sometimes. Sometimes situation. People forget when they're writing something that they're niche in, that not everybody is niche in it, and you're reading gobbledygook, and you're like, what?
Help me understand. No, and we do need to stop talking about this at some point for people who skipped ahead. But when I say like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Jack started wagging his tail in his sleep.
Oh, he's a happy dreamer.
That was really cute. I'm so sorry. His tail like tapped my ankle and it was just wagging.
Oh,
cute baby.
Sweet baby.
When I said this was horror at the end, I really meant it. It was just bad.
I hope Katerina like went forth and lived a wonderful life after this, after he left. I hope he got beat up in the streets.
Well, he died alone in his apartment 2 years later. But is considered a war hero. He has a memorials and like his crypt. I mean, it's a beautiful crypt. It's like all in marble and you can go visit him. Just throw like
maybe
eggs.
That's why they put him in lead. Maybe they were scared he would come back, and that's why they put him in lead.
There's the part where I was talking about his burial, and you're like, "What if a kid sees the ghost of John Paul Jones?" And I was like, "Oh no!" But I haven't gotten to that part
yet. I did say that. That'd be even worse.
That'd be awful.
Don't try to sell him butter.
Don't do it. So, we're gonna stop kind of just making vague references now. If you skipped ahead, welcome back.
Welcome back. We missed you, but we understand.
Yes, it was pretty gnarly, so we definitely understand. That's all I have for John Paul Jones. If you
know what?
American hero ?
Okay. I will say, American, very influential American. I don't even want to say hero, because there were so many heroes during this time. I feel like that word is thrown out a lot. Was he very influential? Did he help the war effort in our favor? Could we have won without him? Question mark. Maybe not. But also, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You can have both.
Yeah.
You can recognize that someone was influential. You can recognize he did good in the broader aspect, but also screw him.
I mean, you can say that about the founding fathers. Like, they helped fight for America's freedom, and a lot of them were also slave owners. So, like,
You know, like we say a lot, people are complicated.
Yes.
In this kind of complicated, it's like, he did good things for the revolution, him bad person.
Yeah.
But complicated, you can recognize it all, because history is never, and I mean never, it is 100% never black and white.
Correct. Sometimes it really shocks and surprises you.
Sometimes it's dark gray.
Sometimes it is black hole pitch nothingness bleak.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I definitely had different visions where I was like, haha, man who invaded Britain by himself. Hee hee. It was a bit different than that.
Yeah, you were right. You got to that point and I was like, literally, what bad stuff could happen now? And
real bad.
I'm thinking like Russians probably came over just to pour alcohol on this man's body, and that's why he's mummified. They're like, screw you.
Try to set it on
Go
fire.
Away. Yeah, and then they're like, lead coffin. This guy's never coming back.
Treating him like a vampire.
Yeah. They're probably like, we put him in this, his soul can't go anywhere, so.
Trapped forever to suffer.
Oh no. Then they trapped him on Earth so they can haunt the suburbs.
Oh no. Oh no. Bad. Well, now he's in a military graveyard, cemetery place.
And I hope all the other military men are beating up, like ghosts, are beating up his ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stabbing him with their bayonets.
That's all you can ask for, really, at this point. That's justice. What if they had like a ghost court and they held it and they found him guilty? So then that's justice.
It's like the Greek afterlife. Like, you go and get judged by like Greek kings, and you either go to the really badass place that's awesome, or like kind of the medium place where most people go. It's just kind of lame. And then like hell. Eternal torture.
What if it's like raw and he has to like weigh your heart with the feather? His would sink like a
Anubis.
Stone. Yeah. So his would sink like a stone, and then
you get
eaten.
Eaten by a jackal god and an alligator.
Yeah. Chompy, motherfucker.
Well, I would say I hope you liked this episode, but it's okay if you didn't. I won't take it personally.
Yeah. I hope you liked the delivery of this episode. We'll say that.
And I hope you feel more educated and...
Yes, I do.
Do research on your heroes, but be careful.
Right. And also, let's not forget that John Paul was a murderer and had to change his name to John Paul Jones. So we're already off to a bad foot.
Right.
To begin with. So even through all his accomplishments, I don't think he was that great of a guy anyway.
I don't either. I do think, and this is my opinion, of course, but while reading the different sources, some definitely seem to have a much more positive skew. Like some were like, he just accidentally killed a guy. Whoopsie. And then others were like, no, he murdered a guy. So, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, you know, read multiple sources to get a broad view.
And be picky about your sources.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Let's do socials.
Let's do socials. Okay. So you can find us on Facebook.
Ill-Equipped History Podcast Group and page.
Instagram.
At Ill-Equipped History.
TikTok.
At Ill-Equipped History.
Gmail.
Ill-equippedhistory@gmail.com.
And Patreon.
Patreon.com/Ill-Equipped-History.
Yes.
We're going to have to think of a topic for a bonus episode.
Yes, we are. I thought about that today.
March is running away from us.
So it's the first for... Oh, that's next week. Ooh-hoo. Okay. We're going to have a lot of recording next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, stay tuned for that.
Woo.
Yeah. And, you know, normally I try to end the episode on, like, be more like this guy. You know, accomplish things like John Paul Jones, but be a better person about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's all I got.
I'm going to say believe survivors. That's what I'm going to leave it at.
Yep. Default to believe survivors, and if evidence points to the contrary, because I know it does happen, then reevaluate, but always default to believe survivors.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Okay, bye.